If you experience some foot pain in the morning, especially with those first few steps, then you might have a condition called plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis usually affects people who are on their feet all day. Now we're talking about people who deliver mail, we're talking about your bartenders and servers, and we're also talking about anyone who's training up their activity levels for like a half marathon or full marathon. Usually when it comes to experiencing this condition, it has to do with load management or basically overworking the system faster than you can recover. So that's why people who are just starting to train for a marathon can sometimes experience this issue, while those who've been training for marathons for a long time do not. Now, there are some things that you can do that will help you with your activities, like you can use insoles or use more supportive footwear that matches your foot type. But today we're going to go over a video on how you can manage these things yourself. The first exercise that we're going to be doing requires a dumbbell, and this is going to stretch out your plantar fascia. So if you don't have a dumbbell at home, and we really just need the handle to prop up our big toe, you can instead grab a towel and roll it up into kind of a log. All right, so we're going to start by placing this on the floor. And from there, what we're going to do is place that big toe right onto the handle there. And what you want to aim to do is actually get the ball of your big toe touching the floor, as well as your heel. And you need to keep those two areas firmly planted on the ground during this stretch. From here, you're just going to step forward with your other leg while keeping this knee straight. And you should feel a deep stretch both in your calf and in your plantar fascia, which is the bottom of your foot. You want to hold this stretch for about 20 to 30 seconds, and you want to do this exercise about 2 to 3 times daily to increase your tissue mobility. All right, the next exercise we're going to be doing uses a massage ball. Now, if you don't have a massage ball, you can use any old softball or lacrosse ball, or even a frozen water bottle. That'll do the trick as well. So for this exercise, we're going to start by placing the ball underneath your plantar fascia, which is the bottom of your foot. And what we're going to do is apply some pressure so we can massage out the foot. So we're going to place it down and we're going to put some pressure on. Now, when you're doing this exercise, the amount of pressure you want to put on is about a 6 out of 10 intensity. So what we're not doing is we're not trying to brutalize the tissue. We're not trying to bruise it at all either. All we want to do is provide a bit of a massage to that tissue and apply pressure. Now, the other option is that you could roll around along that plantar fascia, but personally, I like to just find a tender point and put pressure and maintain that hold for about 30 seconds, and then move on to another point along that foot and repeat. And you can move along and find about 4 to 6 different spots, being sure not to repeat the same spots so that you don't accidentally bruise the muscle. The next thing that we want to massage out is your calf, and the reason is because your plantar fascia, the fascia, is continuous with your Achilles tendon and therefore continuous with your calf as well. So by loosening up your calf, you can alleviate some tension in your plantar fascia as well. So taking the same ball or water bottle or foam roller or whatever it is that you want to use, you're going to just place it on a tender spot in the muscle belly of the tissue. So we don't want to be massaging out the Achilles tendon where it kind of becomes like your thinner part of your ankle. You want to target for the muscle belly only. So from there, you're going to once again scour for a tender spot. And once you're there, hold it for up to 20 to 30 seconds. If you're looking to get some more mobility through the muscle, I also like to kind of dorsiflex or point the toes up, and then plantar flex or pointing the toes down, and then alternate these two positions slowly at like a 2 to 4 second tempo. Once you do about 6 to 8 repetitions of these, you can find another tender spot and repeat the movement at your ankle. This will help to loosen up that calf muscle belly and help to alleviate the pressure you're feeling. Now, these exercises are self-mobilization exercises, and they're for symptom relief. They're not going to fix your problem. The only thing that's going to help to fix the problem of plantar fasciitis is increase the ability of these muscles to handle work. Okay, so we're going to go over a strengthening exercise or activation exercise of the intrinsic foot muscles next. All right, this last exercise is for the intrinsic foot muscles, and it's the one single most important exercise in this whole entire video. In fact, if you're really on it when it comes to this exercise, you don't even have to do the other 2 exercises because your symptoms will start to dissipate faster than you think. So this exercise is called the short foot exercise because we're actually shortening your foot. This is so that we can increase the activation or the bridging of your foot. And mostly we're referring to the bridge right here. So the bridge in your foot is called the medial longitudinal arch, and it's controlled by a lot of your intrinsic foot muscles. What we're aiming to do is actually create that arch. So if you look at my foot right now, I'm naturally pretty flat-footed. In my foot, you see my arch is fully collapsed, but it's not about how it looks when it's passively just there. It's about whether or not you can control it, because that's what we're about, controlling your foot. So as you can see, if I contract my foot into the short foot exercise, that an arch develops, and you can see my arch being created. Now this exercise is called a short foot because if I put my hand right where my big toe is and I activate my foot will actually get shorter. I actually go down to shoe size, and this is because you're taking something that's flat and you're creating a dome out of it, and that's what it is to create a short foot. Now for this exercise, for those who suffer from plantar fasciitis, it can be hard to feel these muscles and become aware of these muscles in your foot. So while you're doing it, I like to take your 2 fingers here, you're gonna put it underneath the arch of your foot, and from there, when you activate the foot, you want to feel these muscles contract on your fingertips. What I like to think about is keeping the base of your big toe grounded on the floor, and you're pulling that in towards your heel, okay? So as you can see, we're pulling that base of the big toe towards your heel, and that's what's going to cause this arch to lift up. Now, for a lot of you out there, what's going to happen is you're going to have a tendency to try to curl the toes up like this, and this is going to be what we call hammer toeing. And as you can notice, a lot of the time when I do this, the base of your toes will lift off of the ground. This is relying on your extrinsic foot muscles to activate the arch, and we don't want to do that because we can't rely on them all the time to raise our arch and to strengthen our plantar fascia. So instead, it's really important that you keep your toes as relaxed as possible when you pull in that arch and when you activate it, okay? And as you can see from my foot alone, I can actually move my toes freely while activating that arch. So if you find that you can't move your toes freely because you're gripping the floor with your toes, you're actually not doing this exercise correctly. What you want to do is once you kind of get a good hold on activating this arch, and this will take about 2 to 3 weeks of practice daily, you'll do this sporadically throughout the day. What you want to aim for is be able to activate it as easily as you can move your thumbs. You want to be able to move it like any other part of your body. You shouldn't take too much focus out of your day to activate the arches of your foot. They should be pretty natural for you to do. But once you're able to do that naturally, you're going to practice loading it up, because we need to increase the capacity of this tissue in order for it to strengthen. So what we do is, if we're doing this exercise from a seated position, all we do is now add our body weight onto it by standing up. And during this process, our body weight's now on it. If you want to load it even more, you just shift your body weight onto that foot so that now it's holding more of your weight, and then you eventually do it so that you're standing on one foot, and that's your whole entire body weight on that one arch. A lot of you will feel cramping in your foot, and honestly, that's not a bad thing. If anything, I actually want you to dive a little deep into that cramping sensation, because that is your foot trying to contract for the first time ever, and it's just having a hard time doing it, which is why it starts to cramp. Obviously, I don't want you to cramp out to the point where you're dying in pain, but you can learn to control the cramp by just doing a gentle contraction, appreciate the contraction of those tissues, and that's pretty much what you're going to do. You would want to be doing the short foot exercise sporadically throughout the day. This means you could do it when you're sitting at work in the office. You can have your shoes on, you can have your shoes off. You want to be doing this when you're standing idle, waiting in line at Starbucks. You want to be activating this muscle whenever you can. And those are the first few steps that you can take towards your recovery. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and be sure to subscribe to my channel. See you guys next time. Peace.